Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to share some stories with you and some video, and hopefully provoke your thinking and inspire you with some of your new equipment. I should probably ask, is this everybody's first year in Project Cam Opener?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have a lot of great ideas to share with you, and it's based on what happened last year in Project Cam Opener. So we get to share some artifacts of what other teachers had done and some of the lenses that they had used in their own filming, and look at how that might have influenced their practice, but how you might be able to benefit from some of the things that teachers have done from last year. And so we're going to have kind of an interactive session here, and we're going to have a chance to interact with what we're going to call video exploration stations. And we have 3 different stations that are set up for us. And one of them is here, and one of them is in the next room over here, and the last one's over here. And so we'll be traveling in packs, and I think this is I think this will be the right group for for just a single station, so we can all actually travel together while we explore these videos. So before we do that, we're going to make sure that everyone has a chance to open this session doc. And if you can't do that, let us know, and we'll have a neighbor help you out. Everything that you need, it will be on this doc, including all the links for all the videos, and plus for the evaluation at the end, and recertification credit too if you need that. So I'll be your facilitator today. My name is Barth Quenzer. I was the visual arts teacher at Brown Elementary School for 8 years, and now I'm the what's called the Visual Arts Instructional Curriculum Specialist for DPS. And one of the more insightful things I found last year in working with Project Cam Opener was this idea that there are different lenses that can be applied when picking up our cameras. And one of the big questions I had was, what is the purpose of what I'm doing? Why am I filming my class, and what am I looking for? And I found it really helpful when I began to formulate what we call problems of practice, or we can even just think about that as lenses for viewing and thinking. And so we're going to have a chance to explore some different lenses from other teachers, and then we're going to have a chance to develop kind of your own lens, an individual lens that you might want to look through for next year as you are picking up your camera. So we're going to investigate uses for video and explore the applications to your own practice. We're going to use something called how might we and how might I statements in terms of using those as a lens for looking at the video. So it'll help us kind of have a structured dialogue around the video, and it'll also help us to examine it closer and from different points of perspectives based on what your content expertise is and your own interests. I'm hoping that we'll ignite some passion here for your own video, and that you will walk away with some what we call just emergent ideas for your own practice. Of course, we have our working agreements, and this will be important for us as we work together today to follow the norms of collaboration and working agreements. Please just reach out if there's anything that you need along the way. Dealing with tech can be tricky, so if you have any tech issues, just let us know, and we'll just have a neighbor help you out. So if you guys are ready to leap into it, I think we should just get started. Are you ready to have some fun?
Yes.
Cool. We're going to do a video exploration station little experience here. And it's kind of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000, because it's not going to be a silent critique. We're not going to just be watching and listening. We're going to be commenting and dialoguing about what we're seeing and hearing as we go. And we're going to be using the how might we statements that the video is paired with at each station to kind of provoke our thinking here. Okay? So we'll spend 5 minutes at each station. There are 6 stations total, and we'll just... So, anything else we need to talk about before we move on?
I'm curious about the aspect of, sort of what we were just talking about in that room. If you film something and maybe a student needs to see it again, or the reflective practice, they've finished a piece of work, and you're like, okay, I want you to speak to this piece of work. I'm just curious about what type of setup works for a student to be able to film themselves, or even go re-watch something if they need to maybe look at it again because they didn't understand the concept while you're moving forward with a different group. I'm just curious about logistics.
Well, that provides actually an excellent segue into the next part here. Okay, and I think you'll see a connection between what you just asked and maybe ways to give kids access to the video work for feedback purposes or reflective purposes or content purposes. Is everyone comfortable with us moving forward here? I'm going to kind of go a little bit faster so we have time. What we're going to do is shift from the how might we to the how might I. And there's a couple ways for you to do that, for us to go from the big picture, how might we do these things, to the how might I do this in my individual practice. One way was a suggestion from Jessica, and was to go back to your personalized professional learning plan that you did for Project Cam Opener. And that question of interest or problem of practice that you were looking at during the application of Project Cam Opener, that is an invitation to go back to that to see if that's still relevant for you, and to see if that will actually help guide you in a how might I statement. So I'm going to ask for you, any of those can kind of recall any of your personalized professional learning plan from earlier this year that you filled out for Project Cam Opener. If you want to give us a little brief insight of what you were thinking about when you applied for the project.
I know my principal had wanted, as a teacher leader, wanted me to kind of help out the rest of the building on English language learning instruction strategies, but we never had time for anybody to come in or see, and so I knew that was something he wanted. And when we talked, my principal and I thought, well, if you could capture some video and be able to share that out with the building, just on things that were working, or when you go and observe another classroom, you see something that's working, capture some. So it was more in that lens that I was coming into the project. But now I see so many more applications for it that, I think I'm going to have to kind of revamp it a little bit, although that's still a focus that I know he wants me to do. But there's things for myself and things for the kids, and now I've got something more ideas.
Very cool. Great. Can I share with you one of my how my eyes from last year, and to show you kind of some of the results of how that impacted my practice? One of the main concerns I had for art last year was an assessment need for 4th grade. And the question was, how might I better understand student comprehension in the arts? This is particularly for 4th grade because that's our target assessment group. So that became the how might I. How might I use video? And here it is. How might I use video to capture student thinking and reflection? And so through trial and error, this is one of the solutions that came up with.
I'm Ivan, and right now I'm working on the vein. And what I'm trying to do right now in that circle in the middle of the heart is I'm going to expand it and mix colors with it to challenge myself to make it nice to mix in colors and mix in red, orange, and yellow. And so right now I'm
Okay. So through that process of trying to figure out how do I capture that, we ended up kind of building our own head cam here, and the student is wearing this. And Ivan is just working on his art, and I asked him just work, and it's going to be recording. It sees what you see, and then we had him come back and do like an audio recording over the footage that he was seeing to tell us what he was doing. It kind of became a meta-reflective process. And just one way that we found ways of accessing what students know while they're working, because it's hard to know what kids are thinking as they're working, and it's sometimes hard to get them to come back to it. But now we have some tangible evidence of what Ivan thinks of his practice. Well, the idea was in the first that we'd have all students do it. And then I realized, well, it didn't need to be everyone, and not everybody wanted to do it anyways. But there were maybe some students where I was lacking some evidence of comprehension. And how would I begin to understand where they were in their own practice and at that particular moment in time? So it was like, what's the movie, Being John Malkovich, right? Where you're inside his head and you get to see and hear all of his thoughts. That's what it became like. And so it was more like, what students do I need that experience with to understand where they are as artists? Maybe it's the struggling artists that are having a hard time, or maybe it's the advanced artists to see how far they really are going with their thinking. I guess it became in the end I realized it wasn't everyone, it was just the students that maybe really I needed that information from. So we're going to ask you to begin to just think of your how might I's, and I just want you to take that with you, and it's something that hopefully today you just continue to reflect on, and you borrow ideas from the stations and how might we's, and you go into your own practice and think about what are your interests with video, what are your real instructional needs, and how might those two things be paired together with your own interest in video and the instructional needs. Certainly it can be overwhelming if you think that you're going to be taking all those lenses and doing all of them. That shouldn't be the case. But you should start maybe with a strong one that you feel passionate about. And just go with that and see what happens. Thank you for being here this morning. It was fun. If you have a moment, please fill out the session evaluation, and we can continue to have discussions and dialogue as we do that. If you go to the last page on our session document, you'll find the evaluation link. And for recertification credit, if you're in need of that, information is located there too.
And adding the text. Yeah, that's just because it's fun to see them go from.
Yeah, are we gonna get any lessons in how to edit or do things?
Yep.
Yeah.
There'll probably be online lessons,
Okay.
just because trying to coordinate schedules for you guys is really hard.
Yeah.
But later this summer, we'll be sharing tech tutorials and how-tos, screencasts, and videos to walk you through all that stuff. So, yeah.
What do you think some applications are for this type of video?
It would be cool to show the kids this video, you know, as a precursor to what they're going to do or talk about, you know, before giving them the Play-Doh or maybe after, I don't know. You just want them to go for it too.
And also if the teacher were to do this activity after some time had passed and see just what that growth had been with the kids, that could make it useful.
It's fun to share it with a parent night or something so the parents can see what they actually do.
Kind of an assessment type thing too, to see where the kids are and how their sound is carrying, and then hopefully then the kids can start putting them together with little words, doing a couple sounds together.
And I think the idea of the pre and post assessment, being able to have that formative assessment, and also just the idea of how can we use this to share it with the kids and help them to do it, All of those things are the kinds of things that a lot of times we look at data as the things we can quantify on paper. And as teachers, we often get really frustrated by that because we know our kids aren't just numbers in spreadsheets. So I think what I'm hearing all of you say is that video can also be a way to share our classrooms and our kids and to really look at what it is that they're learning in a different way than a number or a spreadsheet. Like, this is really good data that's really quite quick to grab. You know, you don't have to turn it into an edited video with the text and all that. You could just do a couple of minutes of the kids doing it. And this is Luann's classroom, isn't it? She did the symbols.
No, I don't think it, well, it could be.
I think it was Luann. And one of the things that Luann says all the time that I always like to share with people, she's an art teacher over at Sabin. But
right, it is.
Yeah. She, one of, I think, her biggest ahas this year with video was having the kids.
Comments are.
This is the GoPro?
Yeah, good question. It's the GoPro. GoPros are nice because you can mount them onto most surfaces. This one was mounted on the wall.
Higher up?
Yeah, higher up. And you kind of saw me at the beginning reaching up. It was probably about that high up here. And it has a fisheye kind of lens on it, so it captures a large.
You can see down and back.
It does capture the whole space, and that's just the way the lens is designed on it. Anything else?
Did you just do it like a time lapse?
I sped it up, and I did that through an editing process, but then Jessica taught me a little trick here. If you upload it to YouTube, YouTube now has an option to speed it up, so you can actually look at things in YouTube, I guess any video now, right? And just speed it up and see sort of a time lapse.
You can also watch other people's videos that way, so, you know, if you guys want to watch someone's video that was shared in the community, but you don't have the 5 minutes, you can actually click on the little gears for the settings and change the speed in there. So you can watch it faster.
It's great for just watching learning environment and seeing how kids really know where their materials are. And I mean, that's the thing. I'm surprised not all evaluators use this. Look at what a good typer he is. Who is that? I know, look at that.
Well, she's not actually typing on the computer. So typing. The computer's not on. That computer is used for like 2nd grade in their research. 1st graders don't have access to the computer yet. So it's just
pretending to type enough.
But these ones, I'll give you a little background on some of my insights in this video, why this video is very important to me. Now, these ones over here have created a laptop in their notebooks, and they're doing the same thing, but it's this virtual laptop with just imaginative play. So that's what they're doing over here, using a laptop they made from their sketchbook. There's a lot of different activities going on. The reason that this became important to me was it was a realization that there were things happening in my classroom that I did not have access to, things that were invisible to me, because there's only a certain amount of information that we can take in visually and auditorily. A lot of those things just go unnoticed. Now, on this particular day, I had to capture it and come back to it and realize that some of the most important learnings that were happening in my classroom were not happening during my instructional time. They were happening during these times that I call these micro moments in between instruction. And so right now the students are working autonomously, and they're doing some of the more important work during their own time. That was my big aha, and that's something that I've captured through using video.